what it came down to was these rehearsal periods, because we could only interpret what we could interpret as a reader until we saw the entire crew there, and we did our rehearsals with everybody. And then, so that pilot house might have 14 people in it. So all 14 people, whether they had lines or not, were there. And because the communication, the looks, the reactions, what happens when Krause had to go, in one door through the pilot house, out the other, he had to kind of, wiggle his way through 8 people to do that, because they're all wearing their K-pop vests and their helmets and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we needed to see what those obstacles were. And we wanted the camera to experience those same obstacles. So I had 2 extremely good, venerable operators, Don Devine and George Billinger, who carried this movie on their backs, quite literally. And they figured out the camera performance. I could say very few words to them, and then they could go. And it was a type of thing where every take was a little different. Aaron and I would watch the monitor, and we'd see something happen. And so much of the telling of that story had to deal with reacting to what we were seeing right now. There were certain things we could plan for, and I got that out of the way. The lighting presets, things like that. I got as much out of the way as I could so I could clear my head, because I knew this whole story was going to be about reacting to what was happening in front of us. So I needed to have the full bandwidth of my brain focused on what was happening in front of us.
Yeah.
And all of us would see different things. When we did rehearsals, Aaron would stand on one side of the room and I'd stand on the opposite side of the room, just so we could get a view of what was happening.
Yeah.
And typically when you see a DP and a director do that, that's normally not a good sign. That's sort of the sign of a disconnect. What's wrong with these guys? How come they won't stand next to each other? But it's like, no, that wasn't the reason we did it at all. It was because we wanted to see, well, what did you see over there? Well, I saw this. What did you see over here? Well, I saw this. And Aaron was remarkable, where he could only articulate so much on his own in our discussions during prep, but after the rehearsal, he could articulate a lot. He put together a whole narrative based on reactions and those silent moments. Yeah. That he said, here are the moments we need to go for, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever they are. And suddenly we had a focus. So now I could adjust my lighting to help accentuate those reactions. I could get the light in the eye where we needed it. I could get the camera where we needed it. We wanted things to be very fluid and very adjustable. And I told Aaron, there's nothing we can't do. If you want us to, start in the pilot house, go out one door, back inside, out the other door into the front of the ship, we'll do it. If it's right for the audience and right for the shot, don't worry about how difficult it is. I'll figure out a way to do it. It's more important that we get the energy of the camera going, for the audience's sake, because we want them running alongside the captain to see what's going to happen next. And to me, that's a huge component in the success of the script or the success of the movie, I hope. And I think that the camera performance in this is equally as important as the actors.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple things in there that I want to dive into, and I want to just isolate the decision for handheld. Did that come, first of all, what does that translate to for the audience? And also, when did that decision get made? Was it during the rehearsals, or was it something you knew right away that you wanted to do?
Well, that's really funny because, I was, in my mind, I was thinking, I might want to do this with maybe some kind of little gimbal or something just to smooth it out. The problem is that we were going to be on a different type of gimbal. We were going to be on our base. The set was on a base that pitched and yawed and did it and rolled and did everything. So we were simulating the movement of the ship on a gimbal on set. So the set was 14 feet above the stage floor, and we were kind of hovering there in the middle of the stage and shooting our movie. And we were surrounded by our screens, and we did it all with white screen. So I had all reflective light, and all the colors that could come in were coming in from a very natural angle. So by doing it handheld, I could see still the movement of the gimbal, where even a Steadicam starts to kind of equalize that out. you start to kind of deaden that, which is like the opposite of what you want. You want, if anything, you want to accentuate. So even the times when George Billinger, who's a very good Steadicam operator, I was telling him, "Hey, really hold on to that thing. So we no light touch. We actually want to see your movement." So, but if we were doing like a long lateral move, sometimes that's really difficult to do handheld on your shoulder.
Yeah,
easier for him to do on a Steadicam, but I really had him dirty it up. It went against everything that he was trained to do. But he must have been
like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want?"
Yeah, he did give me a look, but it was like once he understood and saw the playback and all that, it's like, okay, yes. And these guys were so good at really figuring out the movement, because there were certain sets that were not on the gimbal where they had to sort of create the movement themselves. And we shot simultaneously one scene that was on the gimbal and another scene that was on a stationary set on the stage floor, and both images on two monitors side by side, and they're both perfectly matched. These two guys just figured it out. I mean, it's just amazing to watch. And I think if from a technical standpoint, watch this movie if you want an example of what a good camera operator can do.
Yeah.